pleasure now to introduce our next speaker, Judith Swales. Judith is the Chief Executive Officer, Asia Pacific of Fonterra Cooperative Group Limited. Judith leads Fonterra's business in Asia and Pacific, where she's responsible for all sales and marketing of Fonterra's consumer, food service, and ingredients products in the region. Judith and her team also set the global strategy for consumer and food service businesses. The daughter of a milkman, Judith grew up helping her father on his daily milk run. From a daily milk run to running Fonterra Asia Pacific, now that's one heck of a milk run. Judith will address the opportunities in India's evolving dairy market, the launch of Fonterra's JV, which has been the talk of the town, future Fonterra Dairy, and how they are working with local Indian partners. May I welcome Judith Swales.
Kia ora and good morning. It's a pleasure to be invited to speak with you today, especially given the theme of this summit is to collaborate and grow in trade. And that really sums up what we are doing in India and the approach that we have been taking. I want to take a few moments this morning to really talk you through the why India for Fonterra, a bit about the how we're going about it, and then finally to share with you some of the what we have achieved in a few short months. We announced the JV and signed it in August of last year, and we have seen huge milestones met in between then. So why India for us? I think, we think we're pretty good at dairy, and then you compare us to India, who are the largest producer of dairy in the world. And that dairy production doesn't get exported, it really goes to service the local demand. And that industry is currently worth more than $20 billion as of today. But it's not just the scale of the production in India, which is growing at a very impressive rate of 4% a year. But it's really the growth in consumer demand, which is more than double that of the increase in the production, which is eye-watering when you think about the fact that we produce 18 billion litres of milk a year, and they produce 132 billion litres, and it's growing at 4%. So it is really that demand that we are really interested in and where we see the opportunity. And to put that in perspective, by 2025, India will account for 39%, so nearly 40% of global dairy consumption. So we know that India loves dairy, and the consumption numbers are impressive. On an average basis, the global average is 110 litres per year. Obviously, New Zealand are well ahead of the pack with 230 litres per head. But India at 138 litres is impressive. And I think it's fair to say that it's not just the fact that when we go into places like China, really educating China on how to consume dairy, Indians already know how to consume dairy. It's part of their repertoire, if it's in the form of ghee or paneer. But what we're seeing with new modern consumers is a demand for new and innovative products, and that's really where we think we have a role to play in that supply chain. So to put that in perspective, in the next 7 years, demand in India will grow by 82 billion litres. That's 5 times what New Zealand currently produces. So it's really, there is going to be a huge gap between the local production and the demand. It's growing 7 times faster than China. And really what is driving that is the younger population. So to put that in perspective, 70% of the population are younger than 45 years old. They live digital lives in urban areas. They have an active lifestyle, and they increasingly have more disposable income than ever. And they're looking for dairy products that deliver higher quality and better nutrition and more innovation. This is resulting in a shift away from locally produced dairy businesses or an increased demand beyond limited products and brand offerings to a new area of value-added and innovative dairy products right across the country. And recently we're starting to see a transformation in India's dairy market. consumers are looking to lift the consumption, but increasingly they're looking for new products. They're looking for new standards in safety, quality, and taste. But really, with 23 official languages, with distinct regional tastes and preferences, and a huge landmass to cover, there's a lot of work to do to reach this diverse group of consumers. And whilst at Fonterra we've got over 100 years of dairy heritage, we have coupled with uncompromising food safety and quality standards with global manufacturing and R&D know-how. The question really becomes, how do we use that expertise to impact for Indian consumers? So we recognize that the expertise is really only one part of the equation. And if we wanted to really help and make a difference in strengthening India's dairy industry, we can't go it alone. So it was essential for us to find the right partners with market knowledge, with industry expertise and infrastructure to complement our dairy know-how, and together to try and help create solutions that will cater for the new taste of Indian consumers. And that's really at the centre of our strategy in India. Which really comes to, so how are we going about it? So as I said, last year we signed up a JV, we call it Future Fonterra Dairy. We're partnering with Future Consumer, which is part of the Future Group. It's one of India's largest consumer companies. By leveraging each other's strengths, we're truly collaborating to bring about a new generation of dairy products for this rapidly expanding market. This joint venture allows the co-op to bring our global dairy innovation, our manufacturing, and our nutrition expertise to a diverse consumer base. With their deep understanding of the Indian consumer, experience working with international partners, which they've done for many years, they also have a nationwide supply chain and retail network. Future Group are our ideal partner to reach these new consumers. They are present in 26 of the 31 states. They have over 2,000 what we call modern trade, so we would call them supermarket stores, plus 5,000 public distribution outlets, which are like mini wholesale stores. They also have a nationwide supply chain of cold chain and ambient distribution network. So together we have the scope to reach 500 million consumers in over 350 cities in India, which really goes to a bit of the why we're there and how we're going about it. They have recently signed partnerships with Amazon, and in the last year they have acquired the master franchise for 7-Eleven, which will bring another 8,000 retail outlets to their portfolio. Again, broadening the reach that we have for reaching consumers. So together we are working hard to fulfill the demand for high quality dairy and nutrition in India. And how are we doing it? And the what is the Dreamery. That's the brand that we launched in just 3 months ago under the Fonterra Future Dairy JV. It was launched in Mumbai in June, and we're calling it Dairy 2.0. It's created using locally sourced milk. The milk's collected from Indian farms, and then we use our global food safety quality standards across the supply chain to really bring the product to market, helping lift the know-how locally. We have launched 4 products to date. Dai, which is like yogurt, UHT toned milk, a chocolate and a strawberry milkshakes, which is already in 1,100 stores. And in those categories, we already have a 10% market share, which means we're getting repeat purchase and local Indian consumers are loving the products. In the last few weeks alone, we have also launched our Anchor Food Professionals, which is really our food service brand, which is all about eating out of home. And it covers everything from markets, restaurants, to quick serve outlets, to schools and hospitals. The Indian food service sector is also growing rapidly. This industry is set to grow at 9% for the next few years and will reach a predicted value over 130 billion New Zealand dollars. And when you consider that dairy is used in about 10% of all those dishes, we see huge opportunity. think we can enable chefs to actually not just create new foods, but also to help them run more efficient kitchens with better yields and less wastage. We launched our first products, which was whipping cream, butter sheets, mozzarella cheese, and cream cheese last month at the SIAL Food Industry Trade Show in New Delhi. And the launch was celebrated with an event at the New Zealand High Commission, where we received a fantastic reception from chefs. And I can't wait to see how these products might help them boost their businesses. But we do see more opportunities ahead. And we're watching very closely the ongoing conversations around RCEP, and we all look forward to seeing those things progress. This agreement has the potential to deepen our relationship with partners in India and to develop new commercial opportunities that will create benefits for both sides. And in addition, adding value to that local and imported dairy through the Future Fonterra Dairy joint venture. We also see opportunities with our ingredients business, INZBC, by partnering locally. Our commitment to innovation across the entire supply chain, advanced nutrition solutions, and dairy technology also present great potential for Indian businesses that we're keen to explore further. So I hope in a year's time, I'll be able to come back and share more about the new initiatives and partnerships we've forged that are helping to move the bar for businesses and consumers in India. And I look forward to seeing how we can work together to make this happen. Thank you.